good tip is to go from above and get lots of light.
To you, the bold and foolish lambs, to you who are intoxicated with riddles, let's go. Who take pleasure in twilight, whose souls are lured by noise.
Because Carly and I were just sort of like quite enamoured when we were watching this particular documentary, because it was John Waters talking over and some phone conversations with Andy Warhol, all talking about these like infamous tip prints. And I guess maybe as a woman, as a young woman, there is a sense of wanting to sort of not just reclaim your body, but you know, it's used in so many ways by other people, and it's quite exciting to sort of figure out how, you know, how you might want to manipulate or engage with your own body. And that was, I think that was just quite a fun thing for us to do.
The way it was shot, the vantage point was quite difficult in the I guess if you're thinking about sort of feminist theory and Laura Mulvey's work about narrative cinema and you know, the to be looked at-ness of women and the male gaze and all that, was that deliberate?
I don't think there was like, I mean, when I like framed that up, I think I was just conscious that I didn't want there to be any kind of I wanted it to be quite strongly focused on what the film was about, and I guess quite unflinchingly, which was a conscious thing. I don't know, I can't really think in relation to Laura Mulvey what I guess what the relation is, but yeah, it was very conscious. Yeah, and actually it going back onto YouTube, or well, actually it's not allowed, it wasn't at that point allowed on YouTube, but going back into that kind of like video meme sphere, it was quite conscious. It was actually something that I'd done with a lot of previous films that did not have tits in my work, which was to have this very tight crop that's often used on specifically foot fetish films online, and lots of kind of like I guess non-genital sort of fetishes. So like the AMSR videos are all very tight cropped on the face, and the foot fetish ones are always a very particularly tight crop on the, I guess it's that sense of like almost like disembodiment and like fracturing the body, so that you're kind of like maybe made to feel slightly uncomfortable, even though it might be a quite sexually charged piece.
But do you worry then that you're perpetuating this like traditional exhibitionist role of the woman to be not only looked at but displayed, and then sort of coded for the strongest visual and erotic impact?
Yes, completely. That video had I think 30,000 views in the first weekend it was put online, and that's not because people are interested in art. So it's definitely a massive part of, I think, any woman, especially now, using her body, because you know, it's the constant question: am I just contributing to a bank of images that are just constantly growing and constantly
do not feel
potentially disembodying
like cowards,
all of us, but I don't think it's a reason to stop.
And is that why though you're focusing more on paintings, as you said at the beginning? Do you think you're moving away from that sort of work?
Well, it's interesting actually because the paintings they're very much part of the have led on from the films that I was making at the beginning of, I guess, when I started showing my work and stuff, and I use my body in them. You know, they're made on the floor, and I kind of in various ways end up crawling across the canvas. Even if I'm using brushes, they are very my whole body is very much engaged. So actually, maybe it's felt like a way of leaving a trace and using my body in a less graphic but maybe more effective way, especially in relation to, I guess, maybe a previous generation of artists of whose work I really love, someone like Janine Anthony, who kind of the active body was very much almost part of the end work, was perhaps trying to do something similar but actually remove the body completely from the actual final image that you see or final thing that you experience.
Can we, following on from that, talk about the use of the word cunt in your work?
Cunt is the first text piece really I've done, and the first word I've worked with, and I was sort of drawn to it on a lot of levels. It seemed like the most seductive word to potentially use and the most effective. I started thinking about it as being potentially the only anarchic word left, because it is banned from a lot of our print media and online media, and it's still very much a word that is potentially contentious and but like much loved, and I kind of like, I was interested in its use as this sort of like reclaimed word for feminists, some feminists, but then also something that gets banded around inanimate objects and is very much part of, like, I don't know, car abuse culture, and like just that it can be a word that's full of so much pleasure. It's one of the first, I guess, swear words I probably knew and really enjoyed. My mum definitely used it a lot. Yeah, that was like, I kind of like, I liked that it has the same effect and meaning, whether it's if there's a politicized sort of like energy behind it, or whether you're literally just screaming it at someone.
It means massively different things in the US than it does in the UK. Yeah, it's not in the US, if you say it, it's literally the worst thing you could possibly say. And when I came to England, I was shocked by how many people would just say it.
Yeah, and also I don't know if it's like if it's different with different groups of people. Like, my parents are both very, very Cockney, and I sometimes have to catch myself, because I realise that when they use it, it sounds completely different to how maybe it does when I use it. And actually, I was speaking to an artist who grew up in Qatar, and I think it's a very similar word. I think it looks like cunto, but she was telling me that when it's used, she came to my studio once. She was like, "I was with all your aggro art," and I was trying to explain the same thing to her, and she was saying that it's like if any word has a spell in it, that's the word. She said